Hello, welcome back to SN Tutors. Today we're going to be starting our physics module, and so our first topic is vectors. So vectors have both direction and magnitude, right? As opposed to scalars, which just have magnitude. So if we think about an arrow right here, it has both a direction, which is the direction in which it's pointing, and a magnitude, which is defined as the length of the vector, right? So the way that we define direction is if we draw an XY coordinate grid here, we measure it as the angle theta from the x axis, right? So the positive x-axis, so that's what it looks like. And then, of course, the magnitude is the length, as I said earlier, which should just be right here, denoted as L, right? So if we think about this vector, it has components, right? There's an x component and a y component. So if you draw the dashed line going down here, then, yeah, these are the two components, right? So what we have is we can go ahead and assign this to be the vector v. And if we go ahead and say that this point right here is 2, 3, the point that it ends at, and the point where it starts is 0, 0, right, because it's the origin, we can say v is equal to 2, 3, the vector. Note the brackets are different here. For a point, you use soft brackets, and for a vector, you use these sort of angular brackets right here. Yeah, and it's because if you take 2, 3 and you subtract 0, 0, you get 2, 3, right? 2 minus 0 is 2, 3 minus 0 is 3. Okay, so that's how we define the vector. Now, if we want to find the length of it, we need to think about the components of this vector, right? So the x component and the y component. Okay, so the x component would be this right here, which is parallel to the x-axis, and the y component would be parallel to the y-axis. So we'll call that vx, v sub x, and v sub y, right? So those are the two vectors. And we know the lengths of those, right? Because we wrote what the vector was. It's 2, 3, right? So v sub x, the length of that is 2, right? 2. And v sub y, the length of that is going to be 3, of course. So if we just use the Pythagorean theorem, we could easily find the length of the vector v, right? Since this is a right triangle, it would just be 2 squared plus 3 squared would be the length of v squared. So we just take the square root of that. So we square root of 2 squared plus 3 squared, and that would be the length of our vector v, or the magnitude, if you will, of vector v. Okay. So that pretty much sums up our introduction to vectors here. We'll go into more details next time, but thanks for watching.